Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Big Time Reality TV. It's episode 25. My name is Andy Kirk. You guys can find me on Twitter at CSUAKirk. And the blog is bigtimerealitytv.blogspot.com. Today we're going to be talking, I don't believe I've ever talked about Survivor on my Google Hangout, just strictly Survivor, so this is going to be the first time. And I got a good friend of mine who I haven't talked to in a while. You guys might know him on a former Survivor's website, or Rob has a website.com. He does a challenge, Are You the One? And I'm telling you, Brian, I'm gonna convince Rob to get you on the voicemail. It's gonna happen.
That would be a lot of fun. Maybe me and Alec could be like a package deal or something.
Yeah. So it's Brian Cohen. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. It's definitely glad to talk to you. I believe last time we talked, we talk all the time through like text and Facebook, but last time we talked about something, I believe it was free agents, maybe.
I don't know. Did we not do this past challenge? I don't even remember. But
yeah, I hardly ever did shows during X's 2, and I was having better luck with the real world cast than the X's 2 cast, so I got majority of them. But anyways, how's everything going, man?
Yeah. Everything's going good. I'm missing my MTV show. It's been too long. I feel like they're not going to be on for a while, but at least we got Survivor in the meantime.
Yeah, man. So before we get started, I mean, I know since last time we talked, you switched from your own network to Rob has a podcast. How did you get onto that?
I just kind of reached out to Rob because I know he was saying he wanted to do some type of challenge podcast because I know his Survivor partner Stephen Fishback watches the challenge and he wanted to do more reality shows. I know he wanted to do the challenge, so I asked him like, I'd love to be a part of it. I've been a fan of yours for a while. He was Rob like in my town for a couple of years in Long Island. Never met him, but he was like a Long Island guy like I was. So I just reached out and said I would love to be a part of your situation you got going on. So. And somehow it just happened to work out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember listening to your first podcast from Free Agents, and I was like, "This is some pretty cool stuff." I mean, I've been a fan of RHAP ever since. So I got you to thank for that, I guess.
Yeah, RHAP's the best. It was one of the first podcasts I think I was listening to Rob for the past like 4 or 5 Survivors now, at least. So, I mean, his Survivor stuff's the best. It's one of the reasons why I even wanted to start doing interviews and stuff, just because I've seen him do it and want stuff. Maybe I can do that too.
Yeah, I've ever since I've started listening to RHAP, and I was just telling you my favorite app's the RHAP app. I love it. I love going back and listening to like podcasts of seasons that I've been watching on Hulu. Our ones from like the past seasons of like Big Brother. He does Amazing Race. I mean, it's good stuff.
Yeah, he does so much stuff. I don't understand when this guy like sleeps or eats. Seems like every second he's podcasting about something, but yeah, we get to reap the benefits.
Yeah. So man, first let's get into a little bit of Survivor 30 Worlds Apart. Are you liking the season? How do you feel it ranks compared to the past couple?
It's been pretty good. It's probably been like a middle of the pack season. It was weird. I actually was just the way the people broke down. I was actually a little more into like the first half than the second half, just because the people left aren't that likable. People that I all liked left in the first half, so it's kind of weird that I liked the first half more. But just the way this was pumped up to be like one of the best seasons. It definitely hasn't lived up to that, but I mean, Survivor's always great, so this has been it's been solid.
Yeah. Who were some of the ones that you were rooting for in the beginning?
I love the no collar crew, Joe, Jen, Haley. They were pretty awesome. I like Shireen, and I like I guess I like Mike too, but they're the only one left that I like rooting for. Even Kyle, like I like Carolyn, but or anything.
Yeah, me too. Like I'm back and forth with her, but yeah, I definitely agree with you. I was definitely a big fan of my. I was on the reality radio podcast after the first episode, and my winner pick was Jen. And after the first merge episode, it was looking really good. But then she was like, "Oh, I don't want to be here anymore." Lost her best friend, and it just went downhill from there. We'll get into it later, but
I feel like this
off the ballot.
Yeah. No, it's amazing that the way this whole season could have been different if the no collar took control after the merge. I feel like it would have been a lot more fun to watch, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And let's just get into last week's episode. I mean, Tribal Council, we saw Mama Seed, Carolyn. She turned on her strongest ally, and I was telling my brother this before I get your thoughts. I was thinking, okay, but before it happened, I was thinking, okay, I think in order for Carolyn to win, she has to turn on Tyler, either at Final 5 or Final 4. In my opinion, I think we'll see what happens. I thought it was too early for that. I mean, she's the only no collar left. What do you think about her taking out her biggest ally in Tyler? I mean, it had to be done, right?
Yeah, I think I definitely had to be done. I think based on what everyone's saying, if Tyler got to the end, he was going to win, unless Mike was there. But yeah, because the issue that I had with him with the move is that now if Mike wins immunity, I feel like everyone's just going to target Carolyn. So with Tyler there, the Carolyn always had a little bit of a buffer. Either they can target Mike or Tyler, but now Carolyn's like the next to go on the chopping block, I think, after Mike, because I don't see why anyone would want to vote out Will or even Dan, just because they are so horrible people that they're automatic to bring to the end. So I think Carolyn would have been better off keeping Tyler around for 1 or 2 more to try to knock off Mike, and then cut him loose Final 4, Final 5. Probably Final 5, just so you don't risk him winning the Final 4 immunity. So cut him loose at Final 5.
Yeah. I was thinking either Final 5 or Final 4. It was kind of shocking. I mean, I know they talked about it, her and Sierra. They're like, let's split the votes just in case Mike doesn't use the mini auto. But we all knew as viewers that he was going to play it last week. I mean, there was no question about it. But yeah, I kind of shocked. I thought it was way too soon.
Yeah, like if I also just if she goes to the Final 5, like Tyler and Sierra and Dan and Will, like she's almost guaranteed to win the final series. Like none of those people are really that great immunity threats. So I thought I think she won a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Let's just break down the ones that are left. And I want to get your thoughts on them. Let's start with how are you feeling about Rodney?
Rodney?
Yeah.
I like Rodney. I know Rodney's kind of got a bad rap just from some of the stuff he did earlier in the season, but it's the type of thing where if you compare what he said and did to some of the stuff that other people on the show have now said and did, he doesn't come across that bad. Like he's still probably not the best of guys. He's probably not even someone that I would hang out with in my life, but I think he's fun. He's energetic. He whether he loves the game, he just loves being out there. He loves trying to do stuff. So I don't know. I think he's very entertaining, and I think he's been very good television. And with all the people left, he's honestly, I guess, probably like my second favorite.
Yeah, I love Ronnie. Like I've said on a reality radio's podcast, which we haven't done one in a while because both of them I think are really busy. But I said I don't think he's gonna win. I mean, he might. I mean, if Carolyn and Mike go out, it might be Rodney.
Right.
But
it could be.
The dude makes good TV. I mean, he is he the closest as far as one-liners goes? Is he the closest thing to Boston Rob?
In terms of just like one stuff, I guess. It's just because it's like similar. Rob, the thing with Rob though, he was never like that. Like I don't think he was that funny of a person. Like he had some fun stuff, but he was just more of just a dynamic Survivor character. Like I don't think of like fun, funny people. I don't think Rob is like would be the first person I would think of.
Yeah. Let's move on to the other one of the other blue male callers, a guy who I think I knew he wasn't going to be on Survivor Second Chance, but I think down the line, maybe, I don't know, he might get another time on. Dan Foley. What do you think of Dan?
Dan is someone who just needs to stop talking because you know, he said so many bad things early on, but because of everything that happened with Will, I think a lot of people like almost gave Dan starting to give him a little bit of a pass. But then Dan just continually makes things worse by just, I mean, this is just, I guess, being the type of person that he is. Like maybe in everyday life, like when he's in normal circumstances, Dan's like a nice guy and all that stuff. But stripped away everything, Dan, and I guess Will, that we could talk about later, is not a good person. He's just not a good person. That's just the bottom line.
Oh my God! Last 2 weeks ago, when he was trying to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry for everything that happened to Shring," and then all of a sudden, he's like, "With that being said," I was like, "Okay." I thought we were gonna get a compassionate side of him.
Yeah.
He was like, "No, not gonna happen."
Yeah, he tries to be the compassionate person to everyone else, but then his true side comes out in confessionals, and like that's fine. I know everyone wants to try to keep a facade for the people, but if you're gonna like, his real side isn't funny to confessionals. Like that's okay. Like making fun of people in a funny way. He's making fun of people in like a just not a good person way. So he's just a rude and sensitive person that has absolutely no chance of winning. No chance.
0.00 in the words of Rodney.
0.00.
God, I'm kind of surprised I actually brought those two up first, because those two guys, I know you probably listen to all of Rob's recap podcasts every Thursday or Friday whenever he posts them. They give Rob good material. Mm-hmm. It's like unbelievable.
I mean, their television quality is good, but I mean, at least it seems like it's more in good fun. Dan, like it's just not.
Yeah.
It's not a good person.
Let's move on to what I would like to call the plant on the season, Sierra.
Yeah, Sierra. I feel like she's doing more in the scenes that we're getting let on. Just I think she's being not shown because she's not causing so much waves that someone like a Rodney or Dan or Will are doing. But I have a feeling she's not like playing a fantastic game, but doing enough and maybe becoming like a likable enough person that if she gets to the end with, let's say, even just Dan and Will, I think she, and even if Rodney's in there, I think Sierra can play like the likability card, and I think she has a chance to win. I feel like no one's really mad at her. She's kind of been like just happy-go-lucky along the way. So I mean, it's not like an overwhelming like flashy strategy, but being just a quiet, likable one wins Survivor sometimes. So it's not a bad way.
First season, I remember I asked you after I watched San Juan del Sur, what season should I go back and watch? And first season you mentioned was Samoa. I ended up watching that, and you got Natalie White, somebody who really, I don't think she ever won individual immunity or anything, but she was taken by Russell to the final three, and she was so likable that she ended up winning the $1 million.
No, exactly.
So I mean,
I think that people forget is this is a social game first and foremost. Before anything else, physical or strategic, this is a social game, and you're not going to get votes. You're hated, no matter what you do in the game. So you have to be liked at least somewhat.
The one thing I got to give Sierra credit for, and I know she wasn't like the ringleader of it, but I feel like as far as that goes, it seemed like she was when they got Joaquin out. I felt like if they didn't get her, if Mike and Dan didn't get Sierra on their side, Joaquin would have been there, and Mike would have been a target earlier on in the merge. Yeah.
I mean, I think Sierra's kind of just been maybe not the forefront of the decision maker, but she's been on the side of whenever she's gotten to tribal council voting the person out a lot more than she's been against the numbers, which says something about her. So, I mean, she's got a shot. Right combination. She's got a shot.
Mm-hmm. Moving on from one person who I felt like is a plant on the season to somebody who made his voice known quite a bit after the auction. What do you think of Will? First, before you answer that, did you know who he was before the season started? With his whole YouTube video?
I never saw his video. No, I never even heard of that.
It's great.
Did you know who he was before this?
My brother's like, in his first directed camera on the premiere, he was like, "Oh, I was on a YouTube video that made viral." My brother knew who he was, so he showed me a video like in commercials, and living on a. He did some Bon Jovi on the
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know. Yeah, I know what he did now. I had no idea who he was beforehand.
So, what do you think about the lone no caller? I would have not have guessed that in a million years.
No, yeah, I mean, he flipped one. It was good for him to flip in terms of strategic prowess, but in terms of, I just think he's a classic example of someone who, away from family, away from friends, away from comfort, away from food, is just breaking down so hard, and it just can't handle being out there. So his mind is just going nuts, and that's causing him to do a lot of things that he's doing. I bet he's like a jovial, friendly person in real life, but in this type of environment with the stress and the chaos and the disorder, I think he's just mentally just breaking down.
Yeah. And just like Danny, he doesn't have a chance of winning. No way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They both are guaranteed 0 votes.
Like, Will kind of reminds me, as far as for how his position was in the game, of how Missy was last season. How Missy, going into the finale week, really didn't have a chance of winning. And I guess one of them can be Missy, the other one can be Baylor, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird though. Based on the way the players reacted, yeah, Missy really didn't have a chance. But the way the show was playing it, I didn't think Missy had no chance. The way Will clearly has no chance. But yeah, I mean, Missy apparently didn't really have a chance, so that holds up for Will, at least in terms of their gameplay.
Mm-hmm. And then the last two, start with Mike. He's grown on me since the merge. I felt like in the beginning he was like, I don't know. I felt like all the three blue collar guys in the beginning were kind of annoying, but after he realized, okay, Rodney doesn't have my back. He's not sure about Dan. I still have a feeling he might be able to convince Dan to go to his side eventually, but I
think it's possible.
Yeah, I feel like Mike's been a likable guy, and he's been good TV as well. What do you think? What do you think about Mike?
Mike's been good. I mean, he's definitely clearly the most like the person that would clearly win if he got to the end. I don't think he's been that great player. I think I think maybe people might be overrating his game. I think he's made a lot of mistakes and like that, but I think he's done well. I think he's been bold. I think he takes chances. I think he's willing to do whatever needs to be done to win, which is, for a viewer, which is great. I don't think he's like one of the greatest players or anything like that. He's been fun. He's likable. I do wonder how likable he would be if it was other people around him, because he wasn't that likable in the beginning when there was more. Just be kind of likable by default. So, I mean, I like Mike, but he's definitely not like one of my favorites ever.
Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, somebody who was in danger in the very beginning, and Carolyn. We just talked about her. I feel like right now we'll see what happens tomorrow. I don't know what kind of position she's going to be in. You think if Mike wins immunity tomorrow, the Alliance is going to go for Carolyn?
I think a lot of people might shift the target. I think she's going to try to target Dan to double vote. That Dan has 2 votes, but I think for Mike's sake, I think he's going to try to target Carolyn because he knows that she's his biggest threat. If he gets Carolyn out next, I think he's going to cakewalk the next 2 immunities and I'm going to win the game. So I think Mike can try to persuade Dan, and then all they would need is just Sierra to come on board, and I think she would be willing to vote out Carolyn. So I think Carolyn's in the shaky position if Mike wins immunity. I mean, she has her idol, which is big.
Nobody knows about
it. Swing things no one knows about, which is kind of amazing that she's got this far into the game with seemingly no one knowing that she has an idol. So I think if she gets a hint of anything, she'll play it, and then who knows what might happen then if that goes down. So I just think she's not in the best of positions, but I mean, I think it's either going to be.
Mm-hmm. So last but not least, before we move on to the candidates for season 31, and bring him up in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Who's winning this?
I'll go with Mike. I think.
Yeah, me too.
I think Mike can somehow get out Carolyn either week, and then I think Mike just might sweep the next 3 immunities and take it.
Yeah, other than Carolyn, who else?
Which is probably what he needs to do.
Other than Carolyn, who's going to beat him in immunity challenges?
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, Rodney, maybe depending upon the type of challenge, could do it, but he just seems so mentally checked out with birthday gate that I don't think he's going to do much. And yeah, Will and Dan are beyond useless in challenges, no matter what it is. So, I mean, maybe if it's some type of maze and puzzle, Sierra could give him a run because they're fluky and some weird, crazy things happen. But I think Mike might just sweep the final 3.
Yeah, I think so too. And if that's the case, somebody else will get another shot. I'm just hoping, and I know a lot of people were thinking when the ballots were announced that Mike and Carolyn, they're on the ballot. Oh, I guess neither of them win. I'm just hoping that it's one of them that wins, because if it's not, then Jeff Probst hyping up, "Oh, this is the best season ever," was false advertising.
Yeah, I mean, it's already been false advertising, regardless. But yeah, I think it'd be weird if he's been was hyping this season so much and somehow like Sierra wins.
Yeah, I know you rank the winners, but as far as ranking the seasons goes, would you rank this in the top 15 or bottom 15?
I think it's really just right around like 13, 14, 15. I think it's right. It's really right in the middle. I think it's the middle of the pack season. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it'll get a bump if like Mike wins, maybe it'll jump up to like 12 or 13. But if someone like Sierra wins, it'll probably be a 16 or 17 type season, because it's been fun. There's been some good moments and some fun characters along the way. Definitely not a top 10 season.
Yeah, it's been good drama, but as far as the voting out, up until last week, it was so freaking predictable. After the Kelly vote, I doubt a lot of people remember who Kelly was.
Yeah, I mean, they kept it like in suspense. Yeah, they kept it in suspense in like the episode, but I mean, if you look at it, it was what? Haley, Jen, Joe, and Shireen. Boom, 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 boom. So
yeah. Are you excited about when you found out about the announcement Wednesday night about season 31?
Yeah, I mean, it's been rumored for a couple of weeks before that, so I was preparing myself that this was it. So I think it's great. I think it's perfect timing to do something like this. They haven't had a full All-Star season in a while. It's been season 20, so that's like 6 years now. So I think it's a really fun group that no matter how it shakes out with this voting, I think it'll be a really good season.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they're doing this with everybody who's played one time, and we've seen so many people come back 3 times. Boston Rob back 4 times, or Russell, Rupert. I really want to go back and watch one of his seasons. I heard Rupert was a character. Was he?
Yeah, I mean, Pearl Islands would be the season to watch for him. That was iconic season. That was when he was, at least in my mind, was likable. Since then, his likability has dropped dramatically. Yeah, that was a fun season.
Yeah, I know Coach has played 3 times. I know Ozzy's played 3 times. But to see the ballot be everybody's played 1 time and none of them have won, I like that concept. We're going to see.
And it's a good mix of old and new.
Mm-hmm. Before we get into the whole who's on the ballot, I know you watched Survivor a long time. Have you been watching it since season 1?
Since season 1, yeah.
And you haven't missed missed any?
No, I haven't missed the season. Amazingly. Been here the entire time.
How old were you when season 1 aired?
I was trying to think. That was 2000, I think. So if it was 2000, I was 10.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah.
So I got the guys up right now. And we already talked about it. Rob has a podcast, and I know Mertz, Jaffer, he's been doing a lot of interviews with Survivor players. They've been talking about shoo-ins. In your mind, how many? And I'm gonna ask you, who do you think are shoo-ins? Starting with the guys.
Let's see. I'm gonna quickly. So let's see, shoe-ins. I'm gonna just quickly scroll through. I'll say who I think is a shoe-in. I think Shane's a shoe-in. I think everyone wants to see Shane back. I think he's gonna get a big push. I think Fishback is gonna might get more votes than the rest of the guys combined, just because of the power of Rob as a podcast planet. I think he'll be a shoe-in. I think Spencer's absolutely a shoe-in, and I think Joe is absolutely a shoe-in. I think those four, one of those four weren't on, I'd be absolutely flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Flabbergasted.
So Shane Powers, I haven't watched Panama yet. What place did he get?
I think he got like fifth or sixth, fourth, maybe something like that.
Okay. And I know Terry.
He was just a character. He was such a character.
I know. Moving into Terry Dietz, he was somebody that fans have wanted back on for many seasons.
Yeah. I mean, he almost won his season. I'm sure. I don't remember when his season was. If he was eligible for the fans versus favorites, I'm sure he maybe got a call a couple times and maybe declined. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, there's a couple more that are like I'm pretty sure are going to be on. I think Terry's one of those that I'm pretty sure is going to be on, but the other four just I can't imagine a scenario where they're not.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna throw out some, starting with the guys. I'm gonna throw out some of them and just give me. I mean, I've watched a bunch of seasons now. I've watched. I'll give you a list of which ones I've watched besides the ones that I watched live. I watched Samoa.
Mm-hmm.
So Monica, I know Monica. I hope she gets it. I feel like she has a good shot. Nicaragua, we got some snubs that didn't make it from Nicaragua, which we'll get into later. I watched Caramon and I watched Cochrane season. Outstanding performance.
Okay.
Token Sheens. Fishback almost had it, but he screwed up on Final Tribal. So I feel like if he goes on,
I don't think he's so much of a chance in that Final Tribal anyway. But yeah, he bombed that for sure.
I had texted my brother when I was watching it. I was like, dude, he freaking choked.
Mm-hmm.
What other one?
Yeah, it was not as the final.
I just got done watching Micronesia. Amazing season.
Yeah, that's the season.
And then I'm currently in the process of watching South Pacific. So about
that was with Coach Dan Ozzie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know most of these, quite a few of these people on the list that I've been listening to recaps that Rob has done. He's had Spencer on one of the recaps. He's had Vitas, Aris's brother, on one of the recaps. So I know most of them. So let me throw out a name. Let me throw out a few names, and how about we just go back and forth if you want, and we'll throw out names and
sure.
See what we think their chances are. You said you like Shane Powers' chance. We'll start with him.
I think he's a lock. I think people will be clamoring for Shane every time coming back. People want to see Shane. So yeah, I think he's 100% going to be on next season. I don't know if he could. He probably is someone that we all want to see, but probably there's a decent chance to do too well just because he's such like a boisterous character. But I be on.
Mm-hmm. What about this is one guy that I'm currently watching on South Pacific. What about Jim Rice?
Yeah, he's someone that I mainly just know more so from his stuff with coming back and talking with Rob. I don't remember that season that well. It wasn't that memorable. But I remember Jim was a pretty decent player. I think he just kind of got caught up in the numbers and stuff like that. But I think based on his kind of just keeping himself relevant in the Survivor community with some of the forums and blogs and stuff with Rob, I think he'll probably be on. But he's someone that I don't even fully remember all too well.
Mm-hmm. I remember listening to that recap he did with Rob, the whole clip that he had from Ponderosa with singing about Cochrane.
Yeah. I think he was sure. Yeah, he got messed up in like the merge and stuff. But yeah, I think from what I remember, he was like a fun guy that people wanted to see back. So.
Mm-hmm. You can throw out a couple names if you want.
So I'm trying to. So, did you Did you see the first Blood versus Water season?
I saw the final tribal. That's probably it.
Okay.
I know who Vetus is because I've heard him on Rob's podcast.
Right. What do you think of the two guys from this season, Max? Do you think Max are? I think if we agree that Joe's probably locked, what do you think chances for Max and Mike? Assuming Mike doesn't win.
If Mike doesn't win, I feel like Mike will get in. Max is on the bubble, big time.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the stuff he did was
I agree.
Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, him saying to Jeff the night he got voted out, "Hold up, bro."
Yeah.
That was a little too much, bro.
I am curious to see him. I don't know if I would even vote for him, but I'm curious to see him play again because I think for both him and Shireen, them just being on the season kind of just took over the experience of them playing. Kind of similar to Cochran his first season. They just were enjoying being on the show too much rather than playing the game. So I'm curious if one of or both of them got on again, how they would do when they're no longer, oh my God, I'm at Tribal Council, and oh my God, I'm doing this, and oh my God, Jeff Probst is like right there. I'm curious to see how they would do this, the coolness of being on Survivor's gone, and now they can just play. So I am curious to see how Max would get on again.
Yeah, like that whole Tribal Council, when he was like, "Oh," and do you agree with him that this season's tribe swap was kind of messed up?
I mean, not really. They do tribe swap a lot, and it's luck. So,
like all the blue collar guys stayed on one tribe, and they added Joe and Tyler and Joaquin, while it was Will and Max, and then everybody else.
But like that's the thing with Survivor. Like, yeah, it's outwit, outplay at last, but the fourth out is out luck because a lot of Survivor is luck. Whether it's what tribe you're placed on originally, what tribe you're put on when there's a tribe swap, how the word shakes out. There's so much that you can't even control for your game that ultimately determines who wins. So, yeah, I mean, it didn't break that well for Max, but
because I have a good feeling that a lot of the Survivor alumni, ones that he's brought into. A quick side note: I think I heard on one of the podcasts. Did Allie have Professor Dawson?
Yeah, she took his class. Yeah.
Oh wow! So she probably former Survivor.
Yeah, so she said like during their class, like she remembers talking to Rob Sessamino in that class and a couple other people. So yeah, her and Max are close.
That's some cool shit right there. So I feel like with the Survivor players, I don't know about the fans because I think the fans kind of found them annoying. But as far as for Survivor players, if they're fans of certain people, like I know Penners knows Max well. I know Cochran. I don't know how active Cochran is on social media, but I know he'll get some good endorsements. But as far as for fans voting for him, I don't know. It's tough to say.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, it's tough to. It's interesting to see who's going to be doing more of the voting.
I'm not sure if I voted for him yet or not. I don't believe I have.
I think I voted for him like once. And I've been like switching off the 10th guy is because like I have a firm like 7 or 8 people that I've been voting for, and the last couple I've been like debating between. So it's just curious as to who's voting more. Like people who have just been watching the last few seasons, people who have been watching forever and want to see people from some of the earlier seasons come on. So it'll be interesting to see who's like the voice of Survivor. Yeah,
and then Joe, he's got all the ladies voting for him, so I mean he's gonna get in for sure.
Yeah, Joe will be on absolutely. He was just on. Everyone knows who he is. He's got that going for him. I know. Big character. He was great.
Probst wanted him back too. From what I hear.
Probst loves Joe. Yeah.
Back to the Blood versus Water. A guy who left pretty early, I think. I know his wife made it to final 3. What do you think about Brad Culper?
I'm not the biggest Brad Culper fan. I think if he got on, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm so pissed that he's on because he is entertaining. Like he's a boisterous guy. He'll cause trouble and stuff like that. But for me, there's people that I would rather see on. So I haven't been voting for Brad Culpepper, and I don't plan to. But if he's on, I wouldn't be pissed because I mean, and that's the thing with this list. There's no one on here that I'm like, why are they bringing this person back? Well, some people may not remember that well, but there's no one that I'm like, oh my god, I never want to see this person again. So if he come back, I'll be all right, but he's just not in my top 10.
Yeah, it's iffy on him. I feel like he's at the bottom. What about Ars's brother?
Yeah, I think Vitas would be very interesting. I would like to see him back. I think if he got on, he might be one of my top picks to win because I think he was someone he's got this weird likability charm to him that people are kind of drawn to. I think he's pretty active in like the Survivor community, so I think he'll have some pretty good friendships with some of the people, which I think would be so fascinating to see how this plays out because a lot of these people obviously are friends. That's the interesting thing about Survivor. Is like we talk about the challenge all the time, and the challenge, the interesting is all these people hang out or they do season after season together, so they have relationships. So now it's interesting to see a Survivor season where people will either on the same season together, people are friends. So I think Vitas could be in a good spot, and I think he's one of the people that I think would be in my like top 2 or 3 that if he got on, I think he could win.
Yeah, I agree. I saw his clip of it was try to get each other off. I think they did it on both Blood versus Waters, if I'm not mistaken. He freaking tricked his brother and knocked him off.
Yeah. Him and Ars had fun rivalry. Probst loves that. He loved that stuff. He was talking about that all the time during that season.
Mm-hmm. What about I'll throw in one more and then we'll take it back to you. What about one who made probably the biggest, well, not one of the biggest mistakes, at least in recent history, one of the biggest mistakes in Survivor history, Wu.
Mm-hmm. Wu is someone that I actually really like, and I've been voting for because I want to see him back on. I know a lot of people like the Survivor super fans him on because they don't think he's a strategic player, that he made such a stupid move that he shouldn't be back. But I think what makes Survivor great and Survivor seasons great is when there's a good mix of people who are super strategic and there's some people who are super physical and there's some people who are just like carefree and to me, I think Wu was such a fun person to have on his season. And I would love to see him back on. He's just such a fun guy that it just kind of lifts the energy of the show. And it's one of the things that has been kind of missing from the season, that all these people are just kind of bland or negatives. I think if you stick Wu on like one of these seasons, like the season we have now, he's like overwhelmingly the fan favorite and people are wanting him to win. So I've been voting for Wu, and I think I want him on next season. I know a lot of people I probably don't based on what he did in his season, but I want him on.
I feel like if he goes on, and I started watching Kagion, but I don't know why. And I kind of regret not finishing it because in the Survivor magazine it said it's number 5 in the top 10 seasons of all time.
Kagion's one of my favorites.
I kind of regret not finishing it, but I feel like if he gets voted back on, I feel like he and potentially other ones who are runners up, I feel like he's going to be a target very early.
See, actually, I think Wu is going to be someone who wouldn't be a target at all because he's someone who's not viewed as strategic, someone who's viewed as like a pawn. So I think Wu is someone who can easily, if he gets on, make it to like deep into the game because he's not like Stephen Fishback or Spencer or some of the I can't think of some of the other people that are viewed in like the surrounding period as like strategic minds who are going to be heavy targets early on. I think Wu will easily fly under the radar and just chill and jump in the rain and do his thing, and I think he can really go far.
Is he the Asian version of Ozzy, in your opinion?
Yeah, he's was a challenge master. He's
from the clip that they showed on Wu's video. He seems like he'd get along well with Ozzy. Yeah,
they're both super athletic. They're kind of similar body types. That they're not like super strong, but they're super athletic. I think Wu is a great swimmer. He balanced extraordinaire. So yeah, Wu would be someone who would do well in the early game because he would do well in challenges and he could win some immunities. So he might find himself in a similar situation that he was in his first season.
Quoting a Long Islander, woo, 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 woo. I wish they would. A quick side note: I wish WWE would push him again because his push a few years.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder.
There's a lot of things I wish WWE would do.
What can you do though?
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Go ahead and throw out a couple more.
Before we get to the girls, let me just go grab my power cord. My computer is low, so let me just do that before this dies. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna throw out a couple names while you're gone. I really hope Jeremy gets back. He was my fit. He was the one that I was thinking was going to win Survivor last season, and then he gets turned on by his own alliance. I mean, John, Missy, and that crew freaking turned on him at final 9, which was like, what's going on? And I would like to see. And I'm rooting for ones that were on the Blood versus Water season just to see how they would do without their loved one. I feel like Jeremy, he didn't have his loved one long enough. I feel like Jeremy and potentially Keith we would see a whole different game style if they're on the season without their respective loved one. And the other one, I listened to Rob's podcast with Portland yesterday. He seems like a colorful man. I don't know if he's going to make it or not, but if he is, I feel like he'd be entertaining television.
All right.
Were you a fan of Troy? Were you a fan of Troy Zan on One World? Were you a fan of?
What was that?
Were you a fan of Troy Zan's on One World?
I'm not a big Troy Zan guy. I'm really not. Maybe he just has a stink of being on One World, which is now one of my favorite seasons. So he's also been someone I'm not personally voting for right now.
I just listened to his interview with Rob yesterday, and I feel like he's an entertaining guy. I don't think he's going to get in, though.
No, I mean, he is. Yeah, I mean, he's someone just like Culpepper that if they were on, I'd be like, all right, he could be fun, but there's other people that, for me, I've been voting for.
Yeah. I feel like Fishback, like we said, with the whole Rob has a planet thing, he should get in. And even without it, I feel like he'd be a good one to have on because we haven't seen him in so long. I mean, Token Sheens has had quite a few All-Stars, haven't they? Tyson's been on.
Yeah.
Coach has been on.
Tyson, Coach.
JT
was on again.
Have they had any of the girls on multiple seasons?
I don't think so. Erin wasn't. I'm pretty sure her name was Erin. She wasn't on. I know Taj. I'm surprised. I mean, we could talk about like a snubs or guess, but Taj is someone I would have liked to see.
Eddie George's wife.
She hasn't been on. Yeah, Eddie George's wife. I think she must.
I wonder.
I think she declined.
They should call. I wonder if it was between them and those two and Monica and Brad for Blood versus Water.
Yeah, like a sports season of Blood versus Water.
Another snub. I feel like, and I haven't watched the season yet, but Jeff Kent.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought Jeff Kent actually might have been on here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was. I mean, he probably did the best of any athlete that's ever been on. So I thought it would have been interesting to see him back there again. Maybe he declined.
Yeah. Other ones that I felt like were snubbed. I feel like they got the right people from Cagayan as far as the guys go. Josh and Reed, maybe, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they would have put both of them on the list because I don't think they wanted to have them both on. So I'm surprised maybe Josh wasn't on, or just maybe just put one of them on. I agree with. I thought we would see one of them.
I'm not surprised we didn't. I'm not surprised we didn't see John Rocker. That was such a.
No. I'm a little surprised we didn't see Baylor though.
Yeah,
I thought we might have seen Baylor on this list.
A sticky situation.
Sticky situation.
Other ones.
I don't know. The thing about it, the way they've done all these, really dried up the well of all people potentially who haven't come back that could come back. So, I mean, they put together a list of 32 names. So, I mean, there's not that many people that they could go back to. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some old school people, like someone like Heidi or whatever, but I'm sure being married to Cole Hamels takes up a lot of her time. So she's not going to think about her.
Jenna's sidekick, Heidi.
Yeah, Jenna's sidekick. Jenna's sidekick. Yep.
So yeah, moving on to the girls. We didn't talk about a couple of the ones that from earlier seasons. Jeff Varner. I listened to his interview with Rob yesterday. I wouldn't mind him on. I heard he got screwed on his original season with the whole.
Yeah, there was the tie-breaking rules. It was very different back then. Yeah, I mean, him and Savage, I think, are both going to be on just because they've had like a very strong support from like the Survivor base that depending upon the, I'd say those two are the biggest indicators about who's doing the voting. I think if Varner and Savage are on, it shows that like the super fans are really taking over this voting, and if they're not, and it's more like someone like a Brad Culpepper or like someone like Jeremy, that shows that the recency bias and the people who are just now watching are doing more of the voting.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, as far as the ladies goes, I'll pose the same question: how many shoo-ins and who are going to be the ones that are automatic?
The funny thing about the women is a lot of like I can remember either every detail or most of the details about the guys. A lot of the women I don't really remember. So I think for me, I think the locks, the absolute locks. I think Cass is a lock. I think Shireen is a lock. I think she's 100% going to be
automatic.
And I think Kelly Wigglesworth is 100% going to be on just because of how awesome it would be to see the first ever runner-up finally come back to play again. So, but I think the women is so much more wide open, and I'm prepared for anything with this group.
Yeah, I hope Wigglesworth makes it. I'm a newer fan of Survivor, but I've seen that clip probably 100 times of Sue Hawk.
Yeah,
that she'll let the vultures eat her if she's starving. So I mean, it's definitely an icon.
Yeah.
I didn't know her name.
I mean, it's not. Yeah.
Until it was released.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just like it's not like just a Survivor iconic moment. Like, you have a list of the 100 most iconic television moments, and that's probably up there just because, I mean, 50 million people were watching Survivor back then. It was crazy. So the amount of people that saw that and how big a moment that was, I mean, that's probably like one of the biggest moments in reality history and one of the biggest moments in television history.
Mm-hmm. Let's go down the line. I want to go to one from recent season who I've listened to a couple of interviews. Kelly Wentworth from San Juan del Sur. Early boot, but do you feel like she's got a good shot coming back?
Yeah, I think she's got a really good shot. She's very active promoting herself, which is big. She's on a recent season, so people will remember her very well. I think she's got a very good shot. I want to see her back because I think she did have a bit of not a beef, just because that's the way the season was, but I am curious to see her play with dad there, and because of her dad was such a negative influence that it spiraled down to her. Because if Kelly's on her own, she's probably someone that is very likable, very charming, that people want to be with, but because she was attached to her dad, it was like a toxic substance that she had to get rid of. So her being on her own, I think she could be dangerous.
Alone San Juan del Sur too. Female, that is.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Where's the 20?
The only female from there.
Where's the 20?
Yeah, I did wonder if they would have put I don't remember, was it Natalie or Nadia who won? I think Natalie won. Yeah, so it would have been interesting to see her sister on there to get a second chance.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool to see the winner of the fall of 2014 being Natalie, and the winner of the fall 2015 would be kind of interesting.
I'm a little surprised she wasn't on there.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you on Baylor too. I feel like Baylor would be an interesting one to see without her loved one. I'm rooting for I'm rooting for the ones from us 29 because I want one, that was the season that I first started watching live from start to finish, and two, I want to see how they do without her. I feel like Kelly will definitely go farther without Dale. Jeremy,
yeah, I agree.
Obviously, Val went home early, but I feel like Jeremy would go in with a different mindset, and I think Keith would too.
Yeah, it's Survivor. It's so different. I mean, not that I know from experience, but it's got to just be so different because on your own versus when you're at a level one. Which is why, to me, it's not surprising that the two winners had their loved ones voted out pretty early on. Just because when you have your loved one, A, you're a target, and B, you can't think about your own self-interest. You always about someone else. So, yeah, I think I'd be very curious to see all the people from the Blood versus Water seasons play without their loved one. I think it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Now, talking about other Blood versus Water ones, go back to the original one. I asked my brother when we were watching San Juan del Sur last fall, did anybody ever turn on their loved one? And obviously Sierra. So what do you about Sierra?
I'm glad to see her back. She is someone that was the prototypical like learning on the job, where I think she had absolutely no idea what the hell she was doing the first part of the season, and by the end of it, she's making bold moves. She's figuring out how to play the game, which was fun to watch her kind of grow as a player person. I think she's someone on this season that could be very, very dangerous, and because I think she's going to have a reputation that she could be very dangerous, could have a pretty big target on her back early on. Because I do think she'll get on.
Especially because when she took out her mom, Laura, wasn't she on Samoa with Wrestle? Original season?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I would like to see Sierra on. I've heard nothing but great things about her. And she had a good run. Did she make the furthest? Did she make it the furthest of the loved ones?
Yeah, I guess so because was it Tyson, Jervis, Monica?
Another snub.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, Monica, that was her second time playing, so
another snub for the guys.
Hayden?
Where's Hayden Moss?
Yeah, he definitely had a decline. He was definitely he had to have sent the only explanation.
One of the best Big Brother winners of not one of the best, but he's definitely top 5. And he did pretty good on Blood vs. Water.
Yeah, I mean, I think he finished like 5th or 6th, so he was pretty close. I mean, if Sierra woke up and started playing the game like a week earlier, I think Hayden might have won the season. But yeah, Hayden would have been a major threat if he was on. He 100% would have been voted into the season, and he would have been dangerous.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to see. It would have been kind of funny to see him win both Big Brother and Survivor. I think they some Survivor. As soon as he would have won one of the either Blood vs. Water or whatever season he comes back, I feel like survivors are going to be auditioning for Big Brother that second. Be like, oh, somebody's won our show, we got to win their show.
Yeah, I think there's a little like rivalry with the Survivor Big Brother rivalry, so it'll be interesting.
We haven't seen a Survivor on Big Brother yet.
I don't think so. I don't watch Big Brother. I've never really watched. I've only seen like small snippets if I'm like flipping through the channels, or my Twitter feed is all Big Brother, so I'll just flip it on. But yeah, I've never watched Big Brother, but I don't think a Survivor player has ever been on.
I know we've had Survivor players on Amazing Race as well as Big Brother players.
Yeah.
So maybe it's coming soon. I don't.
Maybe if a Survivor goes on, I'll give Big Brother a shot.
Yeah. What about? I just listened to her interview with Rob today. Stephanie Valencia from Redemption Island.
Stephanie is one of those. Yeah, she's someone that I almost didn't even remember. From what I think, I'm pretty sure she was kind of going to be Russell's like second in command. Russell had the type of target that's never been seen before in Survivor, where literally all the tribe could focus on was getting him out. That Stephanie had no shot. So I think maybe Stephanie getting on the season, being able to play without Russell would be very. No, she's going to get the support to come on. I think if she gets voted on, she'd be like 9th or 10th in the vote. Like it'll be very close to see her get on. She would be interesting to get on. I'd be indifferent whether she was on or not, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was listening to that was actually the last interview I listened to, and she was like, "Oh, I definitely regret siding with Russell. I should have played it differently. I feel like if she goes on, will she win? Well, I don't know, but I feel like, and from listening to all these videos, I feel like they've all learned from their mistakes, and they're going to try to play differently, regardless of if somebody gets booted.
Right.
I mean, obviously somebody's going to have to get the first boot, whether that be somebody like a Troy Azan or go down the list.
The way it's the way with All-Star seasons, so it's not like traditional way that people get first boot, where it's like, oh, this person sucked in the challenge, we're going to vote him off. Oh, this person going, we're going to vote him off. Like, because all these people know each other, there's a chance whoever's the first boot is just someone who's just kind of not in the Survivor clique, and that's why they get voted out. So that's why All-Star seasons are so much different than normal seasons, because you never have that preseason connection that normal seasons have. So it adds like a fun twist to Survivor.
Speaking of interviews, the very first one I listened to was T-Bird. Do you remember T-Bird?
She is someone that is I really don't remember at all. Like I remember I've seen the first season a couple of times, and I've seen the second season a couple of times. But I mean, season 3, that was like 2001. It was like 14 years ago. I've only seen once. I really don't even remember her. But for some reason, she's become like this like cult figure that everyone wants to see back on. So I think she's got a pretty good shot to get on, just because everyone is pushing for her.
It's probably the nickname. I feel like
maybe.
I feel like people want to see Probst with his commentary. Does the commentary ever annoy you on the episodes?
I love Probst. Probst never annoys me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure I would be annoyed if I was on the challenge, but or on Survivor, not the challenge.
Even the reward challenge last week, shouting, "That's not right! That's not right!"
Yeah, I love when he like says like, "Oh, this person is sucking," or "This person is doing great." You know, when you're in the challenge, you can't. Sometimes it's tough to focus on other stuff, other than shouting that out and calling people out. I like it's fun. He's a great instigator.
Yeah, another one of my favorite lines that Rob's used on the podcast. Dan is wrong.
Yeah, Probst is great.
Wrong.
It's yeah. And it's funny if you go back and watch like season 2 or season 3. Just he's so much different. Like he's so much more part of the show now than he used to be. So if you want like a fun treat, go back and watch like season 3, and it's watching a completely different show.
Mm-hmm. From T-Bird to another one I've listened to an interview of. She's the Survivor version of Camilla, Abu Maria.
Yeah. She's like the definition of like a firecracker. She's pretty amazing. She made it
good place.
She didn't make it far. Yeah, she's the type of person that probably can't win. She's just too much of a controversial personality that she's going to probably make too many enemies. But it's going to be pretty epic ride for along. And I think she's got an excellent. She's probably someone who's like almost a lock, but maybe not a lock because some people still don't hear from her first season. But she's going to have a very strong following. That she's one of the more likely to be on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like listening to her interviews because she cursed like a sailor, and she's like she doesn't care.
Yeah, she gives no craps. She's ready to rip and run and do whatever she needs to do. She'll be great on this season.
Put her and Camilla in like a room and record it and have subtitles on it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely need subtitles because you're not going to be able to understand anything they're saying. So,
one that I mentioned earlier from the first season I watched, but I didn't watch live. Monica Padilla. Was she one that you remembered?
Not honestly. Not I couldn't. I don't think I could tell you anything about Monica. She's someone I saw there, and I had no idea who she was. So you probably have more of a mindset of her than I do. So what do you remember about Monica?
From watching the videos that they post, which all of them are amazing. And through them all the videos on CBS.com. I feel like all of them are pretty awesomely produced.
Yeah.
she basically told Russell, she got voted out in 7th place. She basically told Russell, if you don't, if you get rid of me, I'm gonna try and convince, basically Tank the Drake.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like because we haven't seen her, and I feel like she's probably been one that's been called for some of them. I think I heard on Rob's podcast she was called for Blood versus Water, but they she didn't make it, unfortunately. But I don't know. I think she'd be an interesting one.
Yeah, if I had to,
I mean, she's still young in Survivor years.
Yeah, she's obviously very young and stuff. But if I had to bet, I would say she doesn't make it. I don't think she has enough of like a following to get it. Would be my guess. But again, the women crop it's so wide open as opposed to there being like a pure men group.
Do you feel like because of recency bias, do you feel like Shireen's is showing?
Yeah, I think Shireen, both that and I think people appreciate her being a super fan. And I think if this voting was done maybe like after the first 3 or 4 episodes, I don't think she'd be on, but she's kind of just become such a sympathetic figure and such a light person I think she may be like one of the top 2 women vote getters. I think maybe like her, Cass, and probably like I think those 3 will probably be like the top 3 vote getters.
Yeah, definitely. As far as how I feel like she'd do, I don't know. I feel like it'd be a tough one to see how she'd perform, unless she had like a strong ally, like if Mike's on the show. Or I feel like I don't know. For some reason, I feel like her and Spencer would work well together.
Yeah, I mean, it's also we don't know, like, being out in California, maybe she's become friendly with a lot of people out there. Like, that's the thing that's going to be the interesting part of how a lot of these alliances eventually shake out, is they're going to be based off, who they're with. So I'm curious to see if Shireen has kind of developed friendships with some of the people in her short stint in the Survivor community.
Yeah. If you haven't listened to her podcast yet, you got to listen to it. She's crazy.
Yeah, she's amazing. I think she
was
really
buzzing.
Second
you probably listened to her exit interview, haven't you?
What?
Have you listened to her exit interview a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was buzzing, Rob. She was doing the bell. I don't think anybody else would do that besides her. So I mean, it makes her pretty. She
loves everything about Survivor.
Another one I really like. I really like this name from China, PG Law. Tell me about her, because she's another one that is from like these middle seasons that I don't fully remember all well. I don't think I liked her that first season, but I've become another one who just has like a 5th place.
Big following in the Survivor community. She finished 5th?
Yeah.
I mean, apparently she's got like a big following that it seems like at this point I'd be kind of shocked not to see her on, and maybe I'll have to do some digging about, maybe watch a couple episodes just to kind of remember her. But that's the thing about, like, again, she's another one that I don't fully, from the women, I don't remember all too well, that I would be curious to see them get back on. So I'm sure once I see them back on, things will like refresh. But I think she's probably going to be on just because she's had such a big following that everyone's saying. But like her and T are 2 people that I don't remember all too well, but that have really big followings, it seems like.
Her and who?
Her and T-Bird.
Oh yeah. Speaking of old school, from what I hear, she had an iconic moment on Survivor Australian Outback. If you remember, Kimmy Kappenberg.
Yeah, she was involved in an altercation with someone where they were something about chickens to cook, and Kimmy I think she's either a vegetarian or just loved chickens or whatever it was, and she didn't want the chickens to be killed, and I think Alicia was the one, and Alicia was wagging her finger in Kimmy's face about, we're going to take the chickens or do whatever with the chickens. And Kimmy is someone that I would never have ever expected to ever see on Survivor again. So I hope she gets on. I've been voting for her just because of the pure nostalgia of it that she was on season 2 and it was such a random person to stick back on. So I hope she gets on, but I'm worried that people don't remember her all too well. But I mean, we'll see.
Was she a snub for season 8? Survivor All Stars?
I don't think so. I don't think she went too deep, and I don't think she was too much of a big personality that it would have deserved to be on. So that's why, like, I never thought she would ever play again. So the fact that she's up for this is pretty amazing.
I'll let you throw out a couple more names, and then we'll wrap it up. We already talked about Cass. I've seen a Cass video of when she told somebody that she wasn't supposed to tell about something Tony said, and Tony was like, "I don't want to speak llama."
Yeah, that's great. What do you think? Because you said you're watching South Pacific now. What do you think of Michaela?
Brandon Hance couldn't stand her.
Yeah,
and honestly, I couldn't see
the mistress.
Did she do anything wrong?
Did she what?
Did she do anything wrong to Brandon?
No, Brandon's just out of his mind crazy. At least there was something that wasn't shown. It didn't seem like she did anything other than just kind of just be her.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because I watched South Pacific, Caramoan before I watched South Pacific, and the characters are totally different from those seasons. Like Cochran is very like naive and very like modest. Mm-hmm. So far, I've been watching, and Dawn is more shy.
Right.
From the couple episodes that she's still an emotional, but as far as Michaela goes,
yeah, and that's why seeing some of the people back is going to be really interesting to see how they play again.
Yeah, I feel like she'd be an early boot.
I don't think she's going to get on. So
no. What about Boston Rob's runner-up? Well, second runner-up, Natalie Tenorelli.
Yeah, Natalie Tenorelli. I would like to kind of see her back. You know, she didn't really do much in her season, but she's kind of like the little sports analogy here. She's like someone who played behind like a Tom Brady or Peyton Manning for a while, and now is getting. And it'd be interesting to see if she learned anything from him.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, like maybe she could be like an Aaron Rodgers playing behind Favre.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope she gets on. I don't know if she will. I don't know if she has enough of a following or push. I mean, I think she'll be right on the edge of either just getting on or just get. But I've been voting for her. I want to see her on, so I would like to see her get a second chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the clip they showed on CBS.com was of her opening statement on in the final tribal, and she basically was like, "Oh, in the gist of it, she basically said I rode Boston Rob's coattails, so she probably regrets that, and she wants to redeem herself from that."
Yeah, I mean that was like one of the more the Rob was 100%. That was one of the more purest locks for a final tribal anyway. Like no matter what she said, she would stand a chance. So it'd be interesting to see her get a second chance. And I think a lot of people play a lot differently when they get on again. So.
Mama C, if she doesn't win, I feel like she'll get in. She doesn't win.
Yeah, and she's someone that I haven't been voting for her. Honestly, I don't need to see her again.
I gotta give it to her, man. For a girl that age, for a girl in her age, in her 50s, she's in better shape than I am at 25. It's unreal.
She's fantastic, but for me, I'm never a big fan of seeing people play back-to-back seasons unless they're like really memorable. So that's why I haven't been voting for Max. I haven't really been voting for Mike, and I'm not really going to be voting for Carolyn just because I just saw them. I don't need to see them play again. Like, I'd rather see some fresh faces.
If it was up to you, it'd probably be just Joe and Serene from Dirty 30.
I think just Joe and Serene. Just because Joe is just so dynamic, and I think it would be great to see him again. I really do think Serene should do really well, get it with the second chance.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be Joe, Serene, whoever doesn't win the final.
Yeah, I agree. I think either Mike or Caroline. I think Mike or Caroline are going to get top 10 votes, but
yeah, I hope it's one of those two that wins season 30, because if it's not, like, what's the whole point of that season?
It'd be a major disappointment if Mike or Caroline fell.
I really don't know much about this one, but tell me about the runner-up in One World, Sabrina Thompson.
I mean, she's kind of similar to Natalie Tenorelli in the fact that Kim, her season, just absolutely dominated and railroaded everyone, and Sabrina was just kind of like her second or third in command. Like, she could have tried to make a move to take her out a little to give her a shot. Once Kim got on a roll, I think she won the last couple of immunities, so it became moot anyway. But yeah, Sabrina, she's kind of like a Natalie Tenorelli. Like, it'll be interesting to see her get on, because learning under Kim, I think she could be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So she has that shot.
Last one, I'm gonna throw one more, and then we'll talk more about snaps from both sides. From the few episodes I watched of Kagiana, I didn't really remember much of this person. Tasha.
Tasha was someone who really came on in like the second half of the season. Once the merge, she dominated challenges. She won a few. I think she won 3 immunities in a row, and it became a fan favorite. So I think she's a very high probability to get on also.
Do you feel like that's going to make her target?
It could. It's just going to be interesting to see kind of like that Kagian threesome of, because I think Cass, Spencer, and Tasha will all be on. So it'll be interesting to see how they divvy up the tribes, if any of them, or obviously at least 2 of them will be on the same tribe. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Mm-hmm. So as far as the girls go, I'm going to throw one snub out that I think should have made it. Holly Hoffman from Nicaragua. I was surprised she wasn't on there.
Yeah, she's someone who was talked about for any time people are coming back, like even when they were just bringing back like 2 people at a time. So yeah, I'm surprised she's not on the list.
I don't know. I feel like Jane's probably too old to come back from that versus.
Maybe that could be it. You know, it's tough to tell who was asked and said no, and who just wasn't even brought up. So
bringing back the guys,
never really know.
Marty. Big snub.
Yeah, another one that people have been clamoring to come back. I thought the thing with the guys though, it's so tough to say like who's a snub, because I don't know who would you want to. It would be so tough to replace anyone on this list of 16. So tough for snubs.
I'd probably take out Culpepper for Marty.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that taking out Culpepper. Honestly, I would be fine taking out Keith. I don't need to see Keith again.
You don't want to stick to the plan?
I'm not going to stick to the plan. I'm not voting Keith.
Oh, he's funny. I don't think he'd have a better performance than he did on 29.
But he's someone kind of like a Wu, where if he got on though, he's someone who would not be a target at all. He's someone that may just be the first boot because maybe he's not friends with a lot of people, but if he got kind of past the first boot and people were going for maybe more bigger targets, he's someone that could last.
Mm-hmm. Are there any, like, you said you've been watching this Borneo, are there any old school cast members that you were surprised that didn't make this list?
The only couple of things that I thought of were there was someone, Alex from Amazon, I thought was pretty good. Alex and Dina, those 2 from Amazon, I would have liked to see again. Those 2 I liked. Trying to remember anyone else from some of the earlier. A lot of the earlier seasons, they kind of got a lot of the big players got in All-Stars. Like, there weren't that many people after that didn't get a second chance, either All-Stars or fan versus favorites. So I think they've really saturated the first 10 season market now after the season. I don't think there's anyone, probably the first 15 seasons, that I really need to see again. That hasn't, if they wouldn't be coming back for a third time.
I kind of wish they would have brought either somebody from Micronesia or Caramoan, one of the fans back.
Right.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, there were a couple of fans. There were a couple that I'm surprised didn't come back. There were the Bros.
I'm drawing a blank.
Bros that were with Malcolm.
He was one of them. The Bradley Cooper looked like Reynolds.
Yeah, right. Him or Eddie.
He
Him or Eddie. I thought it would have been interesting to see them come back.
It's like not even.
They were, yeah. I mean, a couple of fans from the first fans versus favorites. The two girls that were with Parvati, I think would be. I can't remember their names, but I thought those they would be interesting to see come back. Yeah, Natalie and Alexis. There you go. Natalie and Alexis. I think seeing one of them could have been fun. Or even seeing someone like Joel. I think seeing Joel on this list could have been fun too. Joel was fun.
Was he the one with like the macho voice?
Yeah, Joel was like
he was
like a Brad Culpepper lookalike.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember. I mean, I just watched the season. I honestly don't remember. I mean, I remember Joel.
I think he got voted out like 5th or 6th. Like he didn't make it. I don't think he even made it.
He blindsided Mikey B. That's the only.
He blindsided Mike, and then he got blindsided. Like I think the week after, honestly.
Yeah. Other ones, and then we'll wrap this up. Cagion's fine. I feel like they got everybody from Cagion. Blood versus Water.
Yeah, Cagion's good.
Blood versus Water too. I feel like I would have liked to see Nadia, even though they didn't bring anybody that got booted out first. I would have liked to see Nadia get another chance because
I would mind. Yeah,
she got the short end of the stick of being like having somebody in the tribe. I think it was Dale who was the ringleader of getting her voted out because Dale knew about the twinnies from Amazing Race.
Right.
So, I honestly don't remember because that was so freaking long ago, and that was such a long night with Survivor premiere as well as the Big Brother finale. But
right,
I think he was the one that got Nadia voted out, Dale.
I think he was like, he was spearheading that. Yeah.
Worlds Apart. I would have liked to see Jen back on.
I would have said that, but the way she's sort of quit, I'm kind of fine with her not coming back on. I would like to see Haley back on if they were. I'd rather see Haley on this list than Carolyn personally.
What about So Kim?
Who?
The first boot.
Oh, So Kim. No, I don't need to see So Kim again. That's okay.
She spent the least amount of time on 2 combined seasons, from what I hear. I heard she was on Water 2, and then her sister got.
She was supposed to be.
Wasn't able to make it, and then she gets first boot on Worlds Apart. So I was like, that sucks to be you.
Yeah, she's with Malcolm though. So.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Malcolm Freiberg. I feel like if they're gonna do if they do like a season like one I'm watching now, Survivor South Pacific, I feel like Malcolm would be a captain on another Survivor season.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'd like to see like Malcolm and Spencer be captains. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, they're similar. They're similar outside players, I think. Malcolm's probably more athletic.
Yeah. So, out of this list, who do you think? Give me a couple names. Give me. How about we each do 2 guys and 2 girls as potential winners? You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I can go first because I know one of them. For me, I think Vetus is someone that would be one of my big winner picks. That if he got on, I think he can do really well. And trying to think of my other one. Like as much as I want to see someone like Spencer on and Joe on, like I think they're just threatening the way their seasons portrayed them and stuff that I don't think they can win. I'll say
they'll be early jury.
Like I think they can find a way to get to the merge, but I'll say Vetus or I'll say Vetus or Jim Rice. I'll say Jim Rice has a shot.
I like that. And what about for the girls?
For the girls, as much as I would love to see Kelly, I think it would be unbelievable to see Kelly Wigglesworth win. I think that would be one of the greatest stories for Survivor to see that happen. I don't think it's going to, but I think. But for potential winners, I'll say Sierra and Kelly Wentworth. I think those two.
I agree with you on
my
Kelly.
two biggest threats.
I totally agree with you on Kelly Wentworth. I feel like, especially the way that Drew Christie was trying to get her out. The episode before she got booted out, and she was basically the one that blindsided Drew before the tribe swap. I like Kelly Wentworth, and I found out she's a Gemini just like me. So I'm if she makes it, I'll definitely be rooting for her. Birthday's 6 days before mine, so.
Yeah. She's big into the RF community, so I feel kind of drawn to root
like,
for her.
oh, I'm rooting for this person because they have a birthday close to mine. You know anybody from the
Do I do that?
You know anybody from the Challenger or Survivor that has a birthday close to yours?
I have no idea. I don't know. I should find that out.
When is your birthday? February?
February 20th.
Okay.
I don't even know what sign am I? I keep forgetting whatever sign I am.
You can just ask Max and he'll tell you.
Yeah.
As far as
he only knows for the Survivor winners, though.
As far as for guy winners go, I was when you're walking out of the room, I was just saying I thought Jeremy had it in the bag for San Juan Del Sur going into the merge, but his own alliance screwed him. I'm gonna pick Jeremy as one of them. I feel like I feel like he'd be a very credible winner if we were to win.
Yeah.
Either him or I think I'm gonna agree with you as well, Jim Rice, because I feel like the ones that got far on their seasons, like Steven Fishback, like Wu, like Spencer, ones that made it like 5th or better, as far as the guys goes, I feel like they're gonna be in the jury very early.
Yeah.
So I mean, Jim,
it's a tough crop to pick from.
Jim, he took 12th. I don't know what jury member that made him. Probably
it was like the first. I think it was like the first jury member.
And then Jeremy was 10th. So I mean, I feel like those would be good ones. And then as far as the girls go, that'd be something else if Abby Maria were to win season 31.
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy.
That'd be awesome. I'm gonna go with Wentworth as well, and then I'm gonna go with if Monica Padilla makes it, I think she has a good chance. I feel like she's impressed me on how she carries herself. Like as far as for how I saw her in her interview. She's from Queens. Is that close to you?
Which is Queens. So I don't know where she lives in Queens, but right near me.
I think she's in LA now. But
she moved out to LA.
Oh wow. Oh, I listened to Keith's interview earlier today, and he's from Keithville, Louisiana.
Is he really? That's fun.
That's hilarious. But anyways, I think that about does it. I definitely glad we got the chance to catch up. For those for people who don't know about your stuff, where could people find your stuff from the challenge as well as your older stuff?
It's from I haven't said it in a while. It's robhasawebsite.com/challenge iTunes is like the podcast feed. So that's that. My Twitter is at busdriversroute.
I'm tweeting this to Rob, and I'm gonna be like, get this guy on your voicemails. I don't know. It's probably
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Too late this season, but I feel like that'd be cool for him to bring you on next season.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of
he brings
more people higher up his list, but
because I know he brings like I know he has Wiggler on all the time. Antonio, I want to say Cesaro, but it's not. It's not his last name.
Yeah, no, Mazzaro. Antonio
Mazzaro
with an M. Yeah.
Yeah. He
not
brings
Cesaro. Yeah, I mean they do a lot more stuff for me. Like me and Ali, we just do our little challenge and Are You the One stuff. They do a lot more.
Yeah, are you going to cover both of them if they air in the fall? Challenge and Are You the One?
Supposed to air simultaneously because that would suck.
I know, right? Real World and the Challenge.
Is it? supposedly, are you the one filming now, right? And challenging the challenge is going to be filming till the summer, so hopefully they can separate them.
Yeah. From what I know, as far as location goes, they bring it, and you can confirm if you know it. It's back in Hawaii, isn't it?
Are you the one?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I haven't seen anything about it other than I just saw it was filming.
Uh-huh. All right, man. Definitely glad to have you on. We'll definitely I'll definitely have to bring you on if I keep doing these for the challenge. I mean, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be doing these because I got to find me a full-time job soon. Gonna be a college graduate, man. In 2 weeks.
Congrats.
I'm excited. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
As always, you guys can follow me at CSUA Kirk. The blog is bigtimerealitytv.blogspot.com. Fun thing, speaking of graduation, though, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to probably start doing this next week, I'm going to go back to when I graduated high school and like do blog posts on the shows that aired, like Real World. I didn't watch Survivor back then, but I know Micronesia aired in 2008. I'm going to do like brief recaps of those shows back from 2008 and post them.
That'd be sweet. That'll be sweet.
Yeah. Do you remember what Real World aired in 2008 before we got?
2008. That was, I think that was either Sydney or Cancun. I think it was Cancun, right?
It was Hollywood, one of the most
Hollywood
forgotten.
Or Hollywood.
Yeah, that was I think that was the first season they made the transition to 1 hour, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean,
maybe
they kind of had a rough go, and oh man, that cast was so forgettable.
I don't think I even saw Hollywood. There's a lot of the older ones I didn't even see.
Yeah. Have you watched Austin yet?
Yeah, that's one of the ones I went back and watched.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. I'm definitely not keeping you longer. I'm definitely glad to have you on, and definitely once the challenge airs and I'm still doing these, I'll hit you up.
Absolutely, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, guys. Catch you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.